All right, let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to today's Insight 365 session. One of the things that we are really excited about with this new Insight 365 format is getting more of our really talented partners and our sponsors involved throughout the year to share some of their knowledge and their perspective on what they're seeing in the market and what's working for them. And this is absolutely one of those sessions. Awestruck is doing some really, really innovative stuff for a lot of brands, including many of our clients. So today we have Ryan Krukar, who some of you may remember from his time at Inntopia, and who recently joined Awestruck. He's going to be talking and digging into OTT advertising. And this channel is a really interesting one. Let's talk about a little bit about how this has become really a sort of secret weapon for more and more resort and destination marketing teams, and how you can use it, and the kind of direction of this channel. As a quick reminder, you can rewatch this and all of our other Insight 365 sessions on our website at corp.inntopia.com/insight365. Also on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't registered yet, tickets are on sale for our 2-day in-person conference that we'll be holding September 14th through 15th in Stowe, Vermont, where Ryan and some of his Awestruck colleagues will join us as well. So we're very excited about that. We hope to see you there. Ryan, turn the time over to you. Take it away.
Awesome, Craig. Thanks so much for the introduction, and thank you to the Inntopia team for the opportunity today. It's exciting to obviously have the chance to speak to everybody about OTT, which we actually see as tourism industry's secret weapon. And just before we get too far down the rabbit hole today on OTT, I just want to frame up and contextualize what OTT is for those that are not familiar with it. OTT stands for over the top. And to distill it down to its most basic form, it is essentially a digital form of advertising that utilizes streaming services to serve ads, commercials to individuals via their smartphones, iPads, tablets, computers, smart TVs, etc. And that being the case, it's a real specialty of Awestruck, and there are other OTT providers out there, but what we are able to do in the OTT space is certainly one of a kind, and we look forward to jumping into that now and talking through that over the next 20 minutes or so. To give some background as to who we are, Awestruck is a full-service marketing agency, and we specialize in the destination tourism sector, and our origin dates back to 2018. And essentially what occurred was we were two marketing firms that merged as we were working together on a project for a resort in the Catskills. And so those two groups were the 212 Group and Kayatsu Media. And the goal for both of those companies was always to provide clients with a consistent guest-focused engagement. And so as they sat down and were having conversations during these meetings, it turned out that the goal of the group was to provide the guests of the clients we were working with an awe-inspired experience, but then leaving our clients feeling awestruck, hence the name Awestruck. And so after the inception of Awestruck, our team went on to work with that resort, and they won a Hospitality Marketing Campaign of the Year award, which essentially served as our entry point into the tourism and hospitality marketing worlds. So flash forward to today, we work now with over 60 partners across numerous hospitality verticals, including hotels, resorts, ski resorts, water parks, amusement parks, and destination marketing organizations. And as I mentioned in that quick introduction, a big focus of us is really on creating that experience for our clients and also the guests of our clients. And so in order to do so, we always look to provide our clients with industry insights that are essentially second to none, innovative, and that jaw-dropping expertise. And just to give some background as to some of the other team members I have on the call today, from Awestruck, I have Devin Gleason, who is our Vice President of Sales. And so Devin has over 20 years of hospitality management experience as a Director of Sales and Marketing. Our entire team is made up of industry professionals. So the point being, we understand what is important within the travel and tourism sector, we walk the walk, we talk the talk. We've been in your shoes before, and we certainly look for those opportunities to help make life easier and improve life with regards to marketing within the tourism sector. And much like Inntopia, I mentioned our team is comprised of all of these different seasoned hospitality veterans. And Greg mentioned before that I am a former Inntopian and have had a great experience working with Inntopia over the years, both as an employee and as a user. And so this relationship essentially started from a mutual partner that we've worked with over the years, and we engaged with actually Camelback on a daily basis regarding Inntopia, how we can kind of create these synergies, because essentially we have to be aligned with Inntopia in order to maximize their exposure, which in turn then leads to more bookings coming into the booking funnel and creating more revenue. And so this relationship for us is really a super important relationship in ensuring the success, viable success and ongoing success for our partners. And one of the things that both of our organizations do is we really love to focus in on data and technology, and we look to work together to wield that data and technology to drive revenue for our partners on a daily basis. And so that was essentially the genesis of this relationship. And again, really excited at the opportunity today to have the opportunity to present to the Inntopia 365 group today. So as tourism marketers, there's obviously a ton of different roles and responsibilities that we need to address in a daily basis. So if you're looking at those responsibilities, you're tasked with having to manage social media accounts, influencer programs, generate some organic content that helps tell your brand story. You need to engage with guests through reputation management, creative pieces. You have to maintain websites. You have to be able to digest and understand all of that data and then utilize those in order to execute digital campaign goals, drive tangible revenue, all of those things. So that's obviously a lot of what we do on a day-to-day basis as well as a full-service marketing agency. But when you're looking at this overall picture of responsibilities and where your budget allocations tend to go to, there's one piece that's missing, and that piece is brand awareness. And so brand awareness is essentially that odd man out. It's typically the most expensive piece that you're going to have to spend money on. And it's also the piece that tends to take a lot of time. And that's something that, especially in this day and age, not many of our clients have a lot of opportunity to spend time focused in on, which is unfortunate because that brand awareness needs to be utilized in concert with all of these other strategies to really drive that revenue. As we know, if a potential customer is unaware of your brand, then your social, your organic content, whatever data you're able to piece together to then go after new digital campaigns is useless. And so enter stage right. We have the catch-22 that's happening right now in the marketing industry world for destination travel. So what we see is it's obviously necessary for the tourism industry to evoke a sense of emotion in their guests. That's really one of the selling points for travel. You want to be able to picture yourself in the destination that you're looking to travel. You want to feel it. You want to be immersed in that experience. And so from our perspective, there really is no better opportunity to do so than when a potential customer is in their in-home video and audio experience, as that's the opportunity to reach the guest because they're at their most comfortable, they're most relaxed, they're willing to be engaged by a medium. The problem is, of course, that traditional media is only a slice of the pie and it's extremely expensive. And you take a look at that, and it's also very wasteful and ineffective with regards to attribution modeling. So I remember when I was a young director of marketing resorts, and I always felt compelled to spend a ton of money on radio or on TV. And the reality was I spent the money because I was feeling compelled to do so. I would sit there and try and present ROI modeling. Was this money well spent? Is it producing revenue? And the reality was I just didn't really know. And so that's the problem with this type of traditional media. You're essentially a cannon without a scope, just trying to fire at the largest audience possible. You're hoping and praying that you're going to see those conversions. And so, you're seeing geographic limitations, there's audience waste, and it's just overall a very inefficient medium for tracking and finding out if you are driving the type of results that you're looking for. So what we found is the solution to this challenge is what we call destination marketing's secret weapon, and that is OTT. And again, OTT is a non-skippable digital streaming ad medium, and it is delivered into long-form content to reach consumers via their smart devices. That could be a TV, it could be a computer, it could be their iPhone, you name it, it can reach them. And further, the best part about this medium is it is a fraction of the cost when compared to traditional advertising such as TV or radio. And so why is it important in this day and age to engage with OTT? Well, the simple response to that question is, aside from the fact that it is cost effective and has tangible ROI modeling, is it is the fastest growing medium in history. So if you're looking across the United States at this point in time, these statistics are actually going to be skewed up a little bit higher. But we're seeing currently over 82% of US adults are consuming some form of streaming audio each month. So that could be a streaming audio service, it could be a streaming TV service, you name it. 80% of US adults are consuming some form of this every single month. Even more important is the statistic to our right here, where we see 47% of US households have completely cut the cord with traditional media. So that means that we're seeing people completely cut the cord, meaning they're moving away from your typical cable TV, they're moving away from terrestrial radio. And so the challenge then becomes, if you're trying to create this brand awareness and you're trying to really drive traffic to your websites and drive conversions, the problem is you can only reach about 50% of the US public at this point in time, because the other 50% has cut the cord. And so from that perspective, it's obviously an extremely powerful medium, and it continues to grow day by day. As I mentioned before, these statistics are somewhat dated, and it's really more along the lines of 85% of adults that use streaming each month, and about 52% of the entire United States have cut the cord altogether. And so OTT can simply be described as a total industry disruptor. It takes what can be considered an archaic form of media where traditional TV was just firing away, a cannon with no scope, if you want to think of it that way. So essentially just buying a time slot and saying, okay, Fox News at 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is our target demographic. The problem is that's based off of assumptions, and sometimes those assumptions are incorrect. And so you're spending money on an audience within a geographical area that you're not sure if it's even going to be the right audience. And so with OTT, think of it as a precision digital audience targeting weapon. And what we are able to do with that is we are able to completely disregard the traditional way that media is purchased. We are not after content. And I just want to be clear with that. So a lot of times as marketers, when you hear somebody say they're going to be selling you content, it's really not about content, and it frankly never should be. We are all about that audience. And so with the technology that we're going to jump into in just a second here and talk through, our goal is to create a highly targeted audience for our partners who we know have a propensity to make a purchase for the product that they are selling in a very short period of time. And to that end, Ideal is our OTT side of Awestruck. So Ideal is a subsidiary company of Awestruck, and we are proud to say that we are the travel and tourism's first ever full service OTT ad platform. So we are the first to do it. We are really excited about that, and we do it at a really high level. So I will just quickly talk through how we go about our OTT approach. So as a full service platform and agency, we go about managing all of the campaigns for our partners. There's no need for any one of our clients to rely on other vendors or maintain relationships with outside vendors. We personally have no contracts with our clients. We believe in the efficacy of our product, and we believe that they will see that the medium is proven within a short period of time, and that it is something that does drive extremely high return on ad spend. We also like to approach OTT like we are marketers, as I mentioned earlier, rather than advertisers. So what we do is we focus in on that audience. We recognize that the audience needs to be the focus at all times. And so what we have done is we've gone ahead and created a proprietary hybrid data management platform that we couple with a demand side platform to cultivate these highly targeted audiences. And as I mentioned before, those audiences have the propensity to make a purchase for the product that you are selling. And the result is really high return on ad spend, increases in web traffic, and decreases in media spends. And so you might ask, Ryan, how the heck are you creating these highly targeted audiences that you're referencing? Well, I'm glad that you asked. And so over the last several decades, our team has worked across traditional media and have built relationships with many different organizations, contractual relationships with them, with the likes of Dun & Bradstreet, TransUnion, Experian, Polk, so on and so forth. So our relationships with these organizations allow us to work with big data, and that big data allows us to, in turn, work with our partners to create what we would consider to be their quote unquote ideal customer profile. From there, what we do is we enter that data into our system, and then we are able to go out and find unique households that fit that audience criteria within a geographical region. We then use our system to deploy our clients' advertisements to those households, which in turn drive that huge return on ad spend. And we'll talk about this in a moment, but the result of this information is essentially de-anonymized lists of individuals whom we have served ads to, and we can subsequently add them into digital campaigns or search and display, paid social ad campaigns. And so think about it this way. We're basically creating a profile for you. We're going out and we're finding this very targeted audience that fits that specific background or demographic. We are then able to target them specifically. So every dollar that is being spent is only being spent on the audience that we know is going to more than likely convert because of their background and because of that audience. Further, we also have what we call journey data. And so this is something that's relatively new for us, but is also incredibly powerful, especially for fly-to markets. And so what journey data is essentially our ability to connect with airlines, for example. And so we are able to plug in with airlines, and we can tell our partners, we can run lists that show individuals who have booked flights to a specific destination, but they have not reserved a hotel yet or have not booked a car. So if you're an enterprise, for example, we could say enterprise. We know that Ryan Crewcar is traveling to Miami on May 15th, and he doesn't have a car or a hotel room. And obviously that is extremely powerful information, because then what we can do is we can work with our partners to then pursue those individuals and market to them directly via OTT. And all of this OTT campaign information is really, it needs to be done in concert with some of these other technologies that we have. And so we have something that's called Smart Pixel technology. And so as many of you know, 2022 is the last year that cookies will be available. And so in order to track consumer behavior on websites moving forward, pixels will need to be dropped onto websites. So in preparation for this, Awestruck has proactively developed a proprietary smart pixel technology. And what this allows us to do is we place these pixels on our clients' websites, and it allows us to go ahead and de-anonymize all web traffic to their websites. So just think about that for a moment. How powerful is that to understand exactly who is traveling to your website at any given time? So if I were to travel to the Inntopia website and they were leveraging our Smart Pixel technology, Greg would be able to then, on a monthly basis, generate a list to show that Ryan Krukar, who lives at 774 Barnes Hill Road, has traveled to my website. Here is his email. Here is his phone number. And then he can incorporate me into any kind of marketing campaigns that he's doing for search display, lookalike audiences within social. You can also use that in retargeting campaigns across multiple different mediums. The result of this obviously is a highly targeted audience that we know has an interest in your products, and we know we can deliver the right message to. So essentially what you do then is you would deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, yielding huge return on ad spend. And further, if you can think about this from the marketing cloud side of things, if you're able to incorporate these lists into your marketing cloud, eBlasts, it just furthers that ability to segment data and dive into it and really look through everything. Again, super powerful. Similarly to the Smart Pixel technology is geofencing, or is smart boundary technology. So I like to refer to this as geofencing on steroids. And so what it allows us to do is smart boundaries allow us to put a boundary around a competitor or any business. And anytime that a mobile ID, so think of your cell phone, anytime that a cell phone interacts with that boundary, we essentially capture the IP data of that cell phone, and we then can follow it home. We could see where it rests. We are then able to serve them ads via their cell phone. We can get the ads to serve them on the big screen TV on their wall. If they decide to go out and mow their lawn, we can serve them ads on Pandora. We essentially have all of their data. So that's very powerful, obviously from the advertising perspective side of things, but also with our industry being in the current state that it's in with hiring, you could hire, or you could put a boundary around a client's business and essentially see that a certain device interacted 5, 6, 7 times in any given week, and that most likely is an employee. You could then serve recruitment campaign ads to those individuals to steal market share and to steal employees from competitors' businesses. So very interesting usage of the technology, but obviously very, very diverse. And then lastly, I mentioned a little bit about this before. We have list match, list extension, and then keyword synchronicity. And essentially what we can do is if you're able to provide us a list with regards to your existing database, we can go out there and we are able to find similar households that match the criteria that fall into your current database. List extension is essentially a lookalike audience comparison, and then keyword synchronicity is where we would use keyword terms to help improve the intelligence of our campaigns. So our system is always thinking, always learning. So think about it as kind of a smart technology there, where it's going to be learning with the more data that you feed it. And I think that from just a relationship perspective, transparency is always super important. So as an agency, reporting and attribution is key to us. So you would have 24/7 access to a live dashboard that would show you how your campaigns are progressing, all of that information. I would compare it to Marketing Cloud. So when you're in Marketing Cloud, you can take a look at how all of your campaigns are performing. You can do some of the data segmentation and analysis. It's very much the same, and you'll be able to see exactly where you stand on a day-to-day basis within this platform. And lastly, I just wanted to present a quick case study here, and I'll invite Dave Marcy if he is on the line. Dave Marcy is our co-founder and chief revenue officer just to do a quick walkthrough of Hawaiian Falls, which is a partner of ours through Premier Parks.
Yeah, absolutely. So wanted to quickly, actually, before I talk about Hawaiian Falls is it's a very specific example, and it really gives us a great snapshot over some of the kind of hurdles that OTT can overcome. But I think before I do that, I'd like to actually start with a broader example and a much kind of larger example. So we talked, in the beginning of this presentation about our partnership with Camelback Resort, which is the kind of the genesis of our relationship with Inntopia. Camelback really kind of sits as one of our greater success stories in the OTT landscape, and I'll just very broadly from their perspective, they're in the Pocono Mountain region, which is it's a very competitive region for ski mountains, for indoor water parks. There are a lot of competitors to deal with, and really the customer base comes from both the New York market area and the Philadelphia market area, which, if you know much about media markets, those are two of the top four in the country in terms of level of expense. So this is an organization that for many years they had to compete in the media space. They cannot afford not to have a marketing presence in the branding space, but several $1 million it would cost them, and they really had to pick and choose between New York or Philadelphia, and sometimes kind of stagger them back and forth. OTT for these guys, a few years ago, presented a really tangible solution for a much more intelligent spend. And what we were able to do is really market and focus on the same exact consumer set that we focus on the digital side. What happened was really this is addition by subtraction. We reduced our waste and reduced our budget and by a very, very significant amount. And we showed significant improvements across the board in terms of our revenue, our attribution. The OTT itself produces its own attribution for these guys. So that's a major success story. This Hawaiian Falls situation here is a much more specific incident, but I think it really underlines what it is that OTT can do. So very, very quickly, Hawaiian Falls, there are 5 Hawaiian Falls locations. We partner with Premier Parks. Premier Parks is the operator and owner of only 2 of the 5 Hawaiian Falls parks. So the challenge there is you've got 5 parks that are relatively close to one another. They're all in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. No matter how you slice it, any sort of traditional media that we were going to put into place for these guys would cause overlap with other Hawaiian Falls locations. And the one thing that they did not want to do is spend money that would potentially prop up, another competitor. So OTT was a great solution for us because we can carve geography with so much specificity that we were able to stay within 15 miles of each one of these individual parks, but cross over not at all with any of their competitors. In addition, what we're doing is targeting audience. So we're able to really show them, an opportunity to spend probably about, 3/4 of the money that they were traditionally spending with TV and with radio, with tremendous, tremendous results. So we do the digital as well. And in this case, we were able to see immediate spikes in our ROAS, which is really what OTT is designed to do. It's still branding, so it still kind of props up that awareness, but it's really kind of an accelerator for our prospects to push them through the funnel, and we see those results, in real time.